such a long-going and notable actor, if you have any tips or advice for anyone who's starting off in the acting career or, you know, just going into it?
Be brave. It's not easy. Look, people think it is, but and it's not about just acting. It's about the whole lifestyle. You know, there's an awful lot of time when you're not acting, right? You're waiting for something. It's the same with being a musician, an artist of any kind. So you have to have faith in your own abilities, but you also have to create your own work. And especially as an emerging actor, what I've been fortunate about was that I was in groups of people that just wanted to put on plays. You know, it didn't matter if we got 20 people or 100 people, 3 people, we needed to put on that play. And we learned through doing that. And eventually we started to build up a group of people that watched us, and then we gained experience, and then if one of us got a job doing something else, we'd hire the other person, you know? I think you just have to keep doing it and persevere. But it is not easy. And I look now, and you know, I look back, and I think, well, I've been very fortunate. I've had some lucky breaks. And are you thinking of doing the same? Is that you?
Well, I'm going into a lot of different art forms in my career, so I'm sort of trying to figure out how to be able to do all of them and balance them.
Yeah. Well, it will figure itself out. You just have to be brave, and you just have to believe in yourself.
I've got a grumpy python at home. I think I can do that.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hey. Give her a round of applause. Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
You kind of alluded to the junk food thing, how you like junk food.
Yeah.
And I had always wondered, was that an aspect that was written into the character, or did that kind of develop as they spoke to you?
It was written. It was, and that really gave me the clue that I needed as an actor. You know, the scene was there, and there was the stuff about the pizza, and I kind of went, oh, I get it. He's death. He's a horseman, but he likes human things. So it was really a big clue for me that I could just be very human, and I didn't have to emphasize the fact that I was the most powerful being around. But I could just be very nonchalant, and that is much more terrifying if you're nonchalant about your power than if you're pushing it. Yeah. So I just took that. So it was great writing, started it, and I think then they saw what happened with the first one, and I think everybody thought, well, that's a good idea. We'll develop that. So it became a bit of a thing, and it's a fun little tick that the character has, I think. And it's a nice way to build the relationship between Death and Dean as well. You know, sometimes Dean produces something, and sometimes Death.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and welcome. Yeah, have you come from Scotland?
Yes.
Good for you, yeah. Whereabouts? Glasgow. Okay, great. I've worked there before. It's a great city. It's very cool. It's so cool to, you know, see so many folks from all over the place. It's really great. Hi.
Hi, Julian. Long-time fan here. Love you in everything. But I'm wondering, have you ever played a part where you actually had to smile or laugh?
I'm not lying to you. Then I said, well, no. I did play the Mad Hatter. I can't imagine why I would play a Mad Hatter. But in like I think it was a kid's show. It was shot here in Canada, and I can't remember what it was called. I did 2 shows back to back. I was a 6th grade alien. Do you remember that? You guys? Where I was the purple alien, and then this young guy unknown guy called Michael Cera was one of the boys. And now, you know, never heard of him. And I also did this other show where I played the Mad Hatter for a couple of episodes. And as the Mad Hatter, I think I had to do huge long laughs, not just regular laughs, but like, you that was it. And even those were spooky, come to think of it. But it's funny, it's a thing that a lot of people say when they meet me. They go, "You smiled! You laugh!" But I like to think I do a lot. Except with my teeth. It's embarrassing me. But thank you. No, you've come from England by the sound of it.
Originally, yeah.
And you were transplant like me?
Yeah, I lived here for 25 years.
25, okay. It's hard to get rid of your accent. I do, and I'm learning now. Chicago. The driver came and picked me up, and he said, "Hi, my name's Bab." Bab. Hi, Bab. I'm Julian. Bab. He kept going, Bob. It's amazing how we retain these ideas of how certain words should be pronounced, and they'll give you away, you know. And it's the same with me. I'll be talking to folks that are Canadians or Americans or have a completely different accent, and as an actor I tend to morph into their accent, but there's certain words that come out. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. Sorry, I digress. Hello.
Hi, darling. So we kept talking about junk food, and I was curious, because you mentioned that you like it. What's your favorite, like, weird, greasy, weird fair food kind of junk food thing?
Oh, chip butties. Woo! Oh, yeah. I used to love, like, a slice of white bread, you know, like mass-produced, fluffy white bread.
Yeah.
What you guys call French fries, what we call chips. Loads of salt and malt vinegar.
Yes.
And then the bread absorbs all the fat. And then you shove it in your mouth. and in Canada we have a variation, poutine, which is pretty magnificent too. And so I think those are two of my big favorites. Anything involving potatoes. Potatoes are a big thing. In fact, Death hasn't really eaten potatoes, has he? I think I had one with my burger and beer. That's about it. Yeah, potatoes.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thanks.
As someone who also works in film, I know that I have a bunch of really special memories working on different sets, and I wanted to know if you had any memories of meeting someone you idolize or just with the crew that you really cherish.
Oh, I've been so fortunate. I've met many actors who have just kind of made me go, wow, that's inspired me to continue. I'm very fortunate. There are many, and I can't honestly remember at the moment, but the guy that I'm working with right now is an inspiration to me. In the show that I was talking about in Chicago. His name is Kurtwood Smith. I don't know if any of you guys know him. Kurtwood Smith. So he's everybody, if I said that 70s show, Red. Oh, that guy. So he's one of those guys. I know him from that. And then you start to go, oh, RoboCop, the first RoboCop. And then you go, and he's a little like me. He's a character actor, but he's a guy that will completely dedicate himself to the show. And just becomes a part of the fabric of the show, and I have such admiration for that. And then it can either be comedy, or he can play it heavy, or he doesn't sort of come in and go, well, no, my type of thing is this or that. Like, he gives himself completely. And he's one of those guys that I think of myself in a similar vein, as he's a journeyman actor. He will do a job for you. If you want, he's not necessarily going to be the top of the bill, but he's very reliable and very good. People like John Lithgow, similar. You see him in one show, and then you go, wait a minute, I've seen him as this guy and that guy. And, so there's a couple of examples.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Julian. Sorry.
Oh, were you reading it?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I'll see you later. I'm going to pizza. But, I was going to ask you about when you're on location, for instance, the season 10 finale of
Yeah.
Supernatural. I was wondering about what were your reactions to the script when you received it, and can you tell us a bit about your experience on location for filming? You know, when Dean sort of turned around and killed Dennis instead of Sam, etc.
Well, I mean, I obviously knew it was going to happen, right? So it's you know what I like about that scene, and I like about a lot of shows. I do a lot of horror films too. And what I like about that is that it's always about making the effect work, right? So you forget about your ego and you go, okay, so how can we make this look like a surprise so that everybody goes, oh my God? Or how does it look realistic that some terrible thing happens to somebody unexpectedly? And so everybody on the film set is focused on that, and that becomes the important thing. So in that instance, I mean, that's a pretty big deal, you know, that side coming right through me. So there was an awful lot of care and attention that went to exactly where I was placed, how we would lock off the camera, having me, Julian, right there, and then have without a side in me, and then I would step away, and then I would put the side in, and then I would go in, and then it was a very complicated set of moves, as you can imagine. So I just enjoyed it. Now, obviously, there's the bittersweet thing of going, they're killing me. But I can tell you a funny story, a stranger one than that. And again, Canadian viewers here will know Heartland, right? So I played Mr. Hanlon, who had a nearby ranch to our heroes. And I did a show, and it was really good, and I enjoyed it. And I was the poor guy next door who had hit hard times and couldn't really afford to feed his horses properly. And then next season, they brought me back again, and they introduced a sister, my sister. Mrs. somebody I can't remember. So I thought, oh, this is interesting. My character is being developed. So that happened. We did that episode. And then the next season, I'm sitting at the TV going, oh, it's time for Heartland to be on. It's a Sunday night. I turn on the TV, and my daughter's there with me, and we're watching the TV, and there's an ambulance driving down the road. And we look at the ambulance, and then it cuts to Amber, who's there, and she says, I'm so sad about what happened to Mr. Henry. That was me, in the ambulance, dead. And I didn't even know. So that was more shocking than having a sign through. So that was a real shock. But kind of funny and a metaphor for the actor's life. You might die at any surprising moment. Yeah. So, thank you. Thanks. Hi.
Hi. I wanted to ask if, like, you as deaf, like, were there any characters you would have liked to have interacted with? With
what, in Supernatural or in any show?
No, in Supernatural.
In Supernatural, what that I didn't? Well, like I said, I think Billy and Death would make a pretty cool team. So I think they'd be pretty good. Like, yeah. But yeah, off the top of my head, I like the sheriffs. We didn't get to do too much together, but you never know. Could be romance. So, who knows? Okay. Hi.
So I was wondering what you think happened to Death, like, after Dean killed him.
He went and had a coffee. So, I think that's deliberately up for, it's an unanswered question, right? And I think it's open for him to return. Obviously, the universe has shifted and changed, and it was done in order to do that, to take the show and the whole stakes to a different place, where there was a different set of values. So it did that very effectively, and it was a shock moment, great ending for a season, right? Great shock. And also the best night ever, I think I just killed death. It was great. So, but really, honestly, as Julian, you know, what happened to him? And well, I don't think he's gone yet. That's all. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Hi, so I was wondering, do you ever have those days where you're just in a bad mood and you're grumpy and having a bad day and you inadvertently or just unknowingly slip into the character of death?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I think of death as a happy person. The way that I portray him, I don't think of it like, normally it's like Julian. Julian is the most grumpy person. You know, stuff like that. I don't know. I think of him as sort of bonhomie. Yeah, I mean, I do, but generally not. And also the idea of performing. I'm an actor. I like performing. I like being around folks. You know, so you know, part of it, and this goes back to the question that the young woman was asking me about, you know, being an actor. For me personally, being an actor gives me permission to play characters that I would never ever be in real life. I mean, I'm not really a very interesting person, and I don't think you have to be. I think that sometimes your art, or whatever that is, gives you the ability to express yourself in a way that you would never normally, never normally be able to. So that's how I think about acting. I think that I'm able to transform into and do things that would not be socially acceptable at all. but fun, you know, you can enjoy it and have fun doing it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Wow, we're running out of people. I think we're probably running out of time too, but we can say hi to everyone.
We had something similar, but I was wondering, when you got the script and read that Death would die, how did you feel?
When I got the what?
The script, and you read for the first time that Death would die, how did you feel?
Well, kind of curious actually, and again, I don't look at it as finite, and it's the same with the character of Death. A lot of people say to me, how do you feel? You played Death, you've played Reaper, you've played serious parts, but you see, for Death, I don't see him as a negative force. I see him as a force of order and balance, like winter is to summer, you know, it's partly that allows everything else to regrow and regenerate. And so when I read it, first of all, I thought, okay, so this is an interesting new development. We'll see what comes out of this.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi. In your acting career, what would you say your most memorable fan experience has been? Funny, embarrassing, or otherwise?
Well, I mean, there have been so many supernatural encounters that I think, you know, they're great and fun. And I think also the supernatural family, it sort of gets it and knows that how to react and how to respond, and there's a kind of a mutual respect. Let's put it that way. Sometimes with other ones, so that's a given. So I've had lots of fun encounters with supernatural effects. When I've played other parts, it's been interesting. I was in a Canadian movie called Hardcore Logo, which is a great movie. I'm very, very proud of it. We shot it in, I guess, the 90s, here in Vancouver, and I played kind of an Iggy Pop character, like a punk legend that had come out of retirement, and the punk band has come to visit, and it's a really cool scene. And it really caught a nerve, and one of the funniest things was that I was driving in downtown Toronto in the 90s, and squeegee kids were a big thing on the corners, right? And the mayor was saying, we got to get rid of these squeegee kids, it's terrible, it's a blight on the city. And anywhere that I would park in downtown Toronto, squeegee kids would come up to me and say, your car's safe, Bucky, you're okay. So everybody knew me, not only by my character in the movie, but the out for me because somehow I represented a rebel outlaw to these guys. And I thought, wow, that's cool. This is my posse. So I enjoyed that. But for, you know, short period of time I had notoriety.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's your favorite horror film you've done?
That I've done? Well, Wrong Turn is a pretty extreme version of it. It was kind of, I think if I was watching it and I wasn't in it, I'd hate it. Because it's scary and gross, but to be in it was a lot of fun. And it's possible to make that distinction, you know, as an actor. Sometimes you can be in stuff that you go, I don't know if I like this, but it's sure as hell it's cool doing it. You know, and so I enjoyed it. So Wrong Turn is a movie where I'm one of 3 cannibal brothers. And we're all like, it was done by Stan Winston, the special effects guy who did Terminator and Edward Scissorhands and a whole bunch of stuff. So he created 3 weird creatures, terrifying creatures. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to me. Thank you.
Hello. Hi. The very first scene before you met the Winchesters, you know, that was an introduction to, like, not just how cool your character was, but like that song, Oh Death, the CW version of it. It just like gives everybody the chills. Did you know, had you heard the song when you were filming that? And I also want to know, like, how long did that whole slow motion sequence take to film?
I shot it the same day as we did the pizza sequence. So it was a busy day. It started really early in the morning when we did that whole sequence, which took, it was pretty quick. It was a couple of hours, maybe. I mean, Phil really knew what he was doing. And also the trick, I think, was that they zoom in on things. You think you see more than you actually do. Am I repeating myself? Oh, okay. I thought I heard an echo.
There's an echo in the back.
Sorry, echo. Yeah. But don't forget, you don't see a lot of me in that opening sequence. You see my hand, you see my foot. So it was actually fairly simple to shoot and very clever because you imagine that there's more going on than you actually see. So it was very economical. I'm trying to stand a bit here. It won't echo so much. Hello? So it was a busy day, and sorry,
had you heard the song, the version of Oh Death?
No, I had no idea what the soundtrack was going to be. Although when I heard it, I went, wait a minute, I've heard this before, and it was actually my son that pointed out it was from Oh Brother Where Art Thou? That I'd heard it. Very different. Yeah. But this interpretation of it is amazing.
And how's your daughter enjoying, continuing to watch Supernatural, even though Dad's not on anymore?
Yeah, she's fine with it. My dad's cool. He's fine. He's dead. That's good.
You should bring her to a convention. That'd be
fun. I will, actually. That's right.